Follow at What Would You and you'll be alright. Appreciate you guys tapping in on the check-in. I got the homie David here, aka the Friendly Bear. A lot has been going down in the market. We need to find out what's going on from a real expert. So I wanted to bring in David. So what's going on, David? How are you?
What's up, Justin? I'm doing well, man. It's been a while since we last spoke on a podcast like this.
I
So
know,
with
man.
Justin, I wanted to make a note. So Justin and I did a few podcasts really early on. This is like episode going for me. It's like episode 170 something, and Justin was on. Must have been like episode 5 or
Yeah, I'm
five
a I'm
three.
a OG bear. I'm a OG Friendly Bear. You know what I mean? Sounds
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
NFT you're coming out with.
It does. It does.
um, but yeah, man, and I appreciated you kind of taking me under your wing in a sense of I was still getting my footing in investing, and still to this day, right, we're always learning and always growing our knowledge. But you took me kind of through a stocks trading base what were we calling basic training, right? So we were doing like 5 hour sessions from like midnight till 5 in the morning LA PST time, because you trade what is it called, the
the
pre-markets.
pre-market. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Pre-market.
So that was definitely just seeing what you had to do that, and the time frames that you have to kind of shift your mind of when you're turned on and when you're turned off was super interesting to me. So I appreciate you taking me through that. But what have you been up to since? So for the people that don't know, this guy right here has been absolutely crushing it. I know you're down in Puerto Rico for a while. I know you traveled to El Salvador for that Bitcoin to watch the mining for Bitcoin through what was that? Through
Bitcoin City.
volcanoes, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
and one of the really great stories I want to hear, or maybe if you can, I don't know how red tape it is, but I know you did some kind of undercover work trying to debunk some stock companies that maybe weren't living up to their
a few of them,
name.
man. Yeah, a
Yeah.
few of
So,
them. I
so
can't talk about one of them. I think there was some controversy with one of them, and
okay, okay.
yeah. So like, I can't talk about the other ones. Yeah, there's a few of them.
All right, well, great. Let's get into it then. So, I have a few questions here for you. Obviously, we can kind of spitball it as we go through. So, but one of the main things is, how are you? Just you as a person, how are you?
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. Bro, like I'm doing great, man. I always wake up in the morning and like it's hard like to not think about how life was before like trading and becoming profitable and
Hmm.
doing well. And it's just like night and day. I don't ever want to go back to that guy, man. That guy was like all the habits I've built up now are you're just like I don't drink, for example. I went out yesterday with some friends. I have no problem not drinking, you know, zero desire to even because I gotta be up for the pre-market. I gotta be 100% focused. Pre-market in LA, that's 1 a.m. So right after I was done at 12 a.m. with them, I took an Uber back to my office, straight up, was ready to work.
I
Um,
love it.
you know what I'm saying? So like, and like let's say I would have drank and partied and all this, and who knows what, um, it would have, I wouldn't have been up in the morning. I wouldn't have been up like to do what I do best. At this point in my
Exactly.
life, and
So,
and yeah, and like I don't want to go back to like the previous version of myself where I would have probably succumbed to the party, maybe gone to an after party, maybe you
please,
know,
baby, no more parties in LA.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know how that goes.
yeah, and then like just all those habits that are not good, they kind of just
So when you talk
eat at
about
me.
like exactly when you talk about like changing those habits, obviously one of the biggest factors that drove you to make sure you did change was like you were just saying, never kind of going back to that situation that maybe you came from previously. But what are some of the things that you think the steps that you took to actually make those changes, right? So, for example, I've been trying to make little changes to my habits, and I always find myself creeping back. So, do you have any advice for any of the new people out there, the mentality that you need to have, or just anything that you've done to help break old habits, create new habits, and then sustain them?
That's a very good question, man. I don't just start with small things, just making your bed, eating the right things, drinking enough water. I have a water tracker. I make sure, reading 10 pages a day, one audio book a week. Just all these habits, studying, whatever your crypto stocks, whatever, a couple of hours, 1 or 2 hours. Um, you know, like I know it's I take it a little far, man. Like I hardly even listen to, well, now I listen to some music, but like in the past, I needed audiobooks of stocks in my ear at all times. Driving, it's like even though I like music, I want to listen to music, but like how bad do you want to become successful in what you want to do? How bad
Right.
do you want to change your life? I wanted it so bad because like my life sucked. I don't, I can't even say how much it sucked because no, everyone's gonna think how weird it is. But my life sucked like before, like 3 4 years ago, it sucked, and I think yeah, it's I don't ever want to go back to that. So like, and I actually back then I wanted to get out of it so bad. I changed my whole, all those little habits. I kind of just built a good one every weekly. It's crazy how the good habits compound.
Right.
They just compound so much. Then you look a year later, all like you read 10 books a day, you drink a gallon of water, you exercise, you stop drinking, you eat right. Um, you put in 2 hours of studying every day, it just compounds. And then you build that muscle of discipline. And discipline is like the backbone for trading and doing all these things. You need that discipline. And then like after a certain point where that compounds so much, so much, like so much, then you start to attract people in your life that are like-minded. And you like when I went to Puerto Rico, that was game changer. I was ready with all those good habits and like a little bit of success that I had, well, some success that I had in the markets. I was able to attract like a whole network of people that are more successful than me. And then that was an even more game changer. And then now, like with the podcast, I just dove into that, and I was able to even take it further. So, and now I'm going to conferences, and like now I have a whole network of like-minded people and people that are way above me. And now it's like it's a lot easier to remain disciplined and focused when you have like a whole network of people, when that's your world,
Right.
like what I said. I went out last night with some friends that I actually met up. I saw like networking almost.
Mm-hmm.
So like some people that were cool. I wanted to meet them, and I had no desire to drink, and like people, but I used to be so insecure about in the past. Like let's say when I was developing those good habits,
Right.
I'll be like, maybe it's kind of weird if I don't drink. Maybe I'll get like one drink. Maybe they'll think I'm weird if I'm awkward. But now it's like it's a clear cut decision. Like I'm not doing that. I want to keep my success. I want to build upon my success. It's very, very clear to me that I don't need to do any of that. And like
Yeah.
everybody knows I'm leaving for the pre-market, and like now it's easier to maintain that success. But when you're building it up, it seems very weird especially it depends on the network you have, the crowd the friends you have. They're
What
gonna
you're
see it
allowing
very
to
weird.
influence you as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it sounds
So
like basically you continue to compound those habits over time, and as you compound them daily and daily and daily, kind of built up that callus of like, yeah, this is nothing to this is my
yeah,
normal.
absolutely,
That's awesome.
absolutely, man. And it just every day improving one. Man, think about it. The way I saw it, like improving 1% every day, then it just compounds, compounds, compounds. And then after a certain point, you just like explode, it's like something like a breakout,
You're in price
and
discovery.
yeah, and like bro, like I'm still excited because I have not slowed down at all, and like it's weird, like everything I do is like it's more. Now I'm getting into like uh SEC filings, fundamentals, getting more with technical analysis, like learning more. It just like and opening more accounts, learning more tricks to the trade, like constantly. So I'm still putting in 15 to 20-hour days. Things have not slow. So it's like after a certain point, you get so. I was talking to a UFC fighter the other day, and I was asking, what? Why do you guys go so hard? It's like you're making 30 grand to fight. Like not the main fighters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're making 30 grand. You're coming out with a beating, it's like you're sore for the next couple of months or whatever, or next month. And they're like, yeah, once you go into UFC fighting and you become like sucked into this world, and like it's competitiveness and drive and like and camaraderie, and like they just love it. They just get consumed by it.
Yeah, it's
And I
like bigger
think
than the money's the passion, right?
yeah, I think that's how it is with trading too. Trading is kind of like a sport. So like After a certain point, it's just
100%.
yeah, after a certain point, it's just like you want to keep it like, is Tom Brady slowing down? You know, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. He didn't slow down, you know.
Right.
Um,
You got that.
all
You
the
got that Mamba
greats.
mentality.
I love Kobe Bryant, man. you know, it's like
R.I.P. Kobe.
yeah, you know, like he wins the championship. He smiles for an hour, then he's back in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just that's his drive. You know, that's what
The
makes him uh
Kobe.
happy in a sense, and that's what makes him Kobe. You know, that like he's never satisfied until, you know, it's just like that drive, that passion. I think that's,
Job's not
you
done.
know,
That's what he would always say.
exactly,
So you
exactly.
so you touched on really quick. I do want to get your overall look on the market, but we can get that to that later because I do
Yeah.
want to kind of spin into the last time we were we got together and you were, you know, showing me around, showing me a few things. You were just about
By the
to.
way, before you continue, I want to mention, so when Justin was here last year, it was like a week. I was trading pre-market mostly. Pre-market LA is 1 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And Justin was here for like that whole time for about a week watching me trade. I was running him through the whole thing. It was like a crash course, hardcore crash course. So like that was the last time when he's referring to that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was awesome, right? It was like it showed me the level of dedication it was going to take, and it instead of discouraging me, it made me like want it more. So I really took a lot from that. But right before, you know, right after that, or right during that time, you were about to head out to Puerto Rico. So how was the trade space? Are you back for a bit now? You know, how was everything? How was being around those people, building that network? Just yeah, just touch on it.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because like before Puerto Rico, um, I was basically had no social interaction for like 2 years. And I started the podcast when I flew over to Puerto Rico. Basically on the airplane on a layover, I created the whole RSS feed, and I created a Photoshop image of the logo and stuff. That was all on the airplane over there,
That's fire.
their layover. But being around other people that are like-minded, it helped push my game, you know, and like for example, sitting next to me at Trade Space, I had a really good fundamentals trader, someone that traded totally different from what I trade. But it's like the same stocks, but different ways to trade them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so like I gotta like all the questions I had about fundamentals, because fundamentals, you learn mostly fundamentals if you're doing it. You're learning it in institutions, in a hedge fund, in a whatever it is. That's like that's you're like you learn it through that route. You don't learn it on your own. It's very hard to learn on your own.
Right.
And like seeing it through the institution's eyes, like they're teaching it to you and you're learning it firsthand like that. So he worked in the industry, like, and actually he worked for Martin Shkreli. Do you remember Martin Shkreli? Yeah, he
Farmer
worked for
bro.
yeah, Farmer Bro. So he worked for him before he went to jail, and like Adam Geffert. And he all the questions I had, this is the crazy part. So all the questions I had about fundamentals as we're trading, as we're seeing these stocks fly up in the pre-market in the regular hours, all the questions I had, and like I had some knowledge of fundamentals, but like I didn't, all the intricate knowledge and like for conviction, I didn't have. So I was able to ask him directly right next to me all those questions as they were happening in real time. And like, yeah, there's no substitute for that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
For
it's like even if
months. Yeah.
you you paid the upfront cost to be in that group or that area, and then you know it paid out 10 times full because you had
Oh
something like
yeah.
that. So
Absolutely. So that's one example. And then there's like another trader there is a whale. And I didn't really interact with him too much. He was kind of like unfriendly. But I gotta see his demeanor. I gotta overhear what he's trading. I gotta see like him walking in. What are his habits? What, you know, get to see other people's habits, just like that, you know,
yeah, like a
alone.
peek
Because
behind the curtain from the people that are actually
yeah,
doing it.
like you see one of the head traders there, he's in there, I'm in there at pre-market, so I'm there at 3:30 in the morning East Coast, and he comes in every day 6:30 in the morning. He's talked like there was one actually Lucci, he saying Lucci, he was, I saw one of the first things I saw with him, because you only see him like on YouTube, on videos, whatever. You don't
Right.
see like
He's a
his
trading
back,
phantom.
like yeah, like behind the curtain, like you're saying. And I saw him at one time in the beginning. It was like it was cool to see. he's actually trading crypto, and like he's teaching some, or like trading with some other people in there, and he's walking around their desk and he's saying like, what are the other guys thinking? Are they panicking? Are they nervous? And he's trying to take like a macro view of like the psychology
I love
of like
that.
the other side, and like playing off that. So, and like I saw him touch on it like on videos online and stuff, but like to see him do it in real time, as I think it was like when Dogecoin was crashing, when Elon Musk was on SNL. But it was just really interesting to see, and just like all those little things. And like when I'm making a coffee, I'm talking stocks, talking crypto, talking NFT, talking metaverse. When I'm like eating lunch, you go eat lunch. So it's like constant immersion. And like when you're on your own, you have to have discipline and have to force yourself to do it. But when you're
Right.
around others, uh it's easier. It's
Right.
easier to be disciplined.
Everyone
You
has
have
that same
accountability.
mindset. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Tight. All right. So Puerto Rico was dope, is what you're telling me. So that was experience well worth it. Um, and now I know you call yourself the friendly bear for the people that don't know. I lean a little bearish, but I'm mostly bullish. Uh, but I do want to get your take here. So what do you think right now about the macro market, right? So we got World War III going on. We got inflation, CPI prints coming in crazy. The Fed is still tightening. They're raising interest rates. You as a professional shorter, I'm curious to see or hear, your insight, because the last time we spoke, I know you have a specific process when you're usually shorting a company, correct?
Yeah, I have a few processes now. So there's like, you
Okay.
know, but yeah, like for example, for the small, there's, see, with stocks, there's small caps, mid caps, large caps, and then I like to do also just a whole separate category of pump and dumps, just flat out, straight up pump and dumps,
So
kind of like
with
crypto.
those, so with the pump and dumps, you're pretty much looking for a few red flags that kind of you're like, oh, I seen that before, and then
Yeah,
what's the process from there?
it's like, okay, so the pump and dumps, there's a couple of different. I think there's like two or three different versions. There's one where it's an email. It's an old school one. The email, now it's old school. Email pump and dump where they put a disclaimer. I think I showed you this, right?
I think so.
And it
Yeah,
has
yeah.
like the compensation in the bottom and disclaimer. You just put Control F. It shows that it with cash, compensated keywords like that. And you're like, oh, okay, that's a compensated thing. Why are they compensating it? It's getting compensated because someone has shares and they're looking to unload. They want liquidity to dump into.
Uh,
That's a
It's not real.
yeah,
It doesn't exist, baby. It's a fugazi.
yeah. So like that's a more straight up one. But those aren't as popular as they used to be. Unfortunately, those are easier to spot. Now you have on Twitter, you'll have like furus on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
The furus. They'll load up
that's
at a,
fake gurus for the people that
the
don't know.
fake gurus, yeah, the furus. So they'll load up and then they'll send tweets out to their following of 100,000, 200,000, 50,000. Those people will start buying and then they dump into them. It crashes. And then there's another version of the Chinese version. So the Chinese, this has been going on for a while, where the Chinese will just pick a stock. Recently, it's been ones that IPO'd. They pick the ones that IPO'd. It squeezes. They lock up the shares because there's somebody over there is in China or somewhere else in the world. SEC can't go over there. They're really brazen. They really do not care. What is it? NFG, right? Like they just don't
Yeah.
care. Like you can't find them. Um, so even though the stock uh IPO'd at $5, for example, they'll lock up the shares by like buying up the shares or like their group or whatever, and then cause the shorts to get squeezed. And then that $5 one, recently there's been one that went from 5 to 60. And then
Whoa.
in 3 days, it just crashes all the way to $5 again. Because the shorts are getting bought in. So we can get into that. So with short selling stocks, you have to lend out the share. I don't know what crypto it does that. You lend out the share, the broker lends the share out from someone that bought it. And if there's not enough people that bought it, they have to call the share back.
Right.
And that's what causes the shares to go up, to force shorts to cover, which is force them to buy, and squeezes. And then you have people buying it as well. But eventually they crash hard because the Chinese, they dump them. They want to make their money. And the only way to make money from the pump is to dump it. So
So just to touch on this really quickly, basically you'll have people in China that are specifically looking to do this, right? So they're just constantly squeezing companies and then cut it.
IPOs recently,
Right.
recent IPOs.
Okay.
They're
So
like 3 day, 2 or 3 days old, straight out the gate.
now is it possible for you to catch those shorts as well because they're
Yeah,
IPOs?
I've caught a few of them. It's the thing is it's a separate strategy for that, because like you know it sounds really reckless, but you got to try your best not to get margin called.
Mm.
You got to try your best not to get a force liquidated. I guess in crypto, like
Yeah,
you
liquidate.
want to
Yep.
serve because the end game. The thing is, how violent are these Chinese going to take it? And
Right.
I think from the past IPOs, the most they've taken it, it's like 120 or 140. So at worst case scenario is they take that $5 stock to 140. Like how
Oof.
much, like how much guts do you have?
Right. Because for example,
How
if
big
they
is your
take it,
account?
yeah, because if they take it to 60 and you enter your position and okay, it goes to 65 and you're adding and it goes to 70, you're adding and it goes to
Like okay,
80.
now you're sweating.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't got much more to add here.
Yeah, so you got to manage the position. So with those is a 100% different strategy. Um, you want to have a small position, and you got to be very, very selective and careful with your ads, because it's not like a regular stock that's you're short selling, where you can just add because it's gonna go up another 20%, 30%. You can figure out your way to add into that.
Right.
This one's gonna go 100%, 200, 300%. So you got to really manage it, and it's tough to do, and that's the Chinese. Like, think about it. Whenever you're competing in a sport or a chess game, for example, the guy, your opponent, is not gonna just lay down his piece and die. You know what I mean? He's
Right.
gonna fight to the bitter end. And this is like it's like that with the Chinese guy is manipulating the stock, and the Chinese guy knows that So now it's a constant like neck and neck battle. Like, who's gonna survive this?
Right.
You know,
Right. You guys are
like the
playing
Chinese
chicken.
guy.
Like who's
Yeah.
yeah, who's swerving
So
first?
that I think that's a good way to look at it. So when I see that happening, I'm like, this Chinese guy is trying to wring every short seller's neck over here. Because like when they take it to 100, like, come on. And it's just like, who,
Come
like, are they
on.
gonna take it? So it's just like that's a whole different strategy, and that's
That's
I
more
would
of like
say
a
that's
one-off case. It sounds like
yeah, I would not recommend that to any beginner or something. You're gonna go have a heart attack with
you're
your
gonna get
account.
wrecked.
Yeah, you're gonna get wrecked. So that's a whole different strategy. Very lucrative though. And then like the email pump and dumps is a different strategy. Uh, the Twitter ones, I like to do that. Those are very day trade kind of strategies. Very different
And
plays.
now when you're shorting these, right? You're shorting them, and you're looking for pips or however many moves that can go down. You're not doing options trading, correct?
No options. And with pips, it's just cents.
Right.
I
Got it.
know
Same thing.
forex is crypto pips.
No, it's not. I thought stocks were. That's why I was like, oh yeah, let me tell you a little. But nah.
No, it's just like when it goes up, I guess 10 cents, 5 cents, like money.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, when it goes up, it depends on my thesis. I like to keep my thesis. I like to use the overall thesis, like what's the CEO doing? Why is it going this much? Like, for example, today, um, this company was up on monkeypox,
Oh yeah, I seen
and
that. I seen that on Twitter.
monkey is a good. There's a good explanation actually. Now since it's going on, it's a good example. So like, I like to know the overall story. Okay, so monkeypox. Why is the stock up 50%, 60%? So it sounds like crazy. Oh, monkeypox, the next pandemic, the next epidemic. Oh my God, it's going up. They just made an FDA approval for vaccines, smallpox vaccines. The smallpox is good for monkeypox. And then you look, okay, so now I look at the macro picture. So monkeypox, what are the cases? Okay, there's 80 cases worldwide. How do you get monkeypox? Um, you have to rub skin together really harshly. So right now, monkeypox has been prevalent in the out of the 80 people that are the cases. Um, most of those have been through homosexual interactions.
Okay.
I guess in the gay community, like I guess they're
The
more intimate.
LBGTQ, I think, sir.
Yeah, LGBTQ, but like it's worldwide. So like in Africa, in Asia, they don't have those phrases for it, right?
No, yeah, yeah.
It's just like, yo, it's like whatever. It's you know, that's an American thing. I guess a European thing too, maybe. But yeah, so like it's
So
you
that's like an example right there, though, of like,
yeah,
you.
I'm looking at 80 cases worldwide. No one's really died. It's not deadly. You have to have a really low immune system in order to get it. And then also, what's a previous example that we can consider monkeypox? So I remember when I was learning stocks, Ebola was going on a little bit before that. And Ebola was actually skin contact and bodily fluids, just like monkeypox, except Ebola is deadly. And Ebola had I think 50 cases in Africa, and then only 7 cases in the U.S. or
Mm.
or something like that. A very small amount of cases, and the cases in the U.S. came from prairie dogs. People had prairie dogs as pets,
Oh
so the
yeah.
prairie dog was rolling around in the sheets and running around, and then like the human being, I guess they maybe in the bed or something, and then like they would come into contact like that, but like and nobody died. So and that was Ebola. Ebola is more deadly. So if nobody died, that was in the U.S. That people having the pets and all that. And in West Africa, I think like 40,000 people had, and very low amount of people died. So it's the same thing here. Like there's cases in Africa and very little cases elsewhere, and it's through heavy skin contact and blood, like direct blood contact. So I don't know. I think it's an over exaggeration. It's just
Right.
and then actually monkeypox it cures on its own. If you have a
Yeah,
healthy
I
immune
actually read
system,
that. Yeah.
it
In
cures on its
21
own.
days.
Yeah, so it's just like I think people they imagine
Do you remember the
like
stock that they were
the
pushing for
walking
it?
yeah, I'm looking around SIGA. So
SIG. I wanted to pull it up on
S
my end here.
SIGA so yeah, the after hours. I don't know if you have the after hours chart you're able to see the after hours movement, but it went up a lot after hours. But yeah, people I think, they get it's
Holy snap.
in
What
this situation
is it at
it's like based on
12:40?
right now since 1550,
Okay, so yeah, I don't have the
1530.
after hours. Wow.
Yeah, so but like people it's a lot of hype. So with stocks and all that, things are mispriced. There's inefficiency. So it's based on hype, and people are thinking that like they see the images online. If you go to Google, you see all these blisters on people,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh man, and we just had a pandemic, so like people are just like psychological, like
They're playing on
it's
that
either
fear.
yeah, trauma, and like also the media is not doing. Media always blows things out to get like views or whatever. Like I had a friend that has friends in India, and he's saying that all his Indian friends are like freaking out about monkeypox. And I asked him, "Are there any cases in India?" And he's like, "Yeah, there is cases." Then I googled it, like there's no cases. So like people are just, and I can imagine in India, there's like so many billion of people. I don't know the population there, but it's in the billions,
Right.
and it's people are in close contact all the time, and they're probably like, "Oh my god, if monkeypox, we're all gonna get it," and like India has Bollywood, and and like they have media just like in the U.S. So they're probably hyping it up as much as possible because it gets the eyeballs, it gets people to buy stuff. I know, like in the U.S. they were saying the CDC's website said they're saying that put on masks because of monkeypox. Monkeypox is not even like you can't even get it like that. But so things are they're overhyped and overblown, and it's just like that's just the nature of the beast. So I like to look at the history. So I looked at all the Ebola stocks that ran in 2014 and 2011. They all went up like 2 or 3 days and came straight down. So I use that as part of my thesis. So to know when to enter, know when to exit. I look at history, examples, historical events. I look in the filings to see if there's dilution, because
Right.
dilution, is heavy resistance. Um, I look at the tech. Then I know technicals, candlesticks. So having all this in your arsenal through just like building it up through time. And I look at different time frames, like 1 minute, 2 minute charts, 5 day chart. I look at for this one, SIGA has been on the market since like the 2000. So I looked at the max chart since 2000 because I wanted to see the daily candle of 2011, 2014. I've like so like when the other day someone messaged me and said, "Oh, what time frames do you look at?" And I had an Instagram live that day actually, I do Instagram lives down Saturdays, and it's like
Okay.
just whoever wants to pop in there, and I mean I don't. I don't want to sound mean to the guy, but like at the same time, like, he's not paying me for service and whatever. So I can be genuine, I can be open, and I don't want to like mislead people, because like
Right.
this shit is not easy. That's only if you're asking me what time frame you should look at, and you're a stock trader, like I asked him, what do you want from this, man? Do you want to do this part time? Do you want to go hard? Do you want to make $1,000,000? I mean, it's not wrong or right,
Yeah,
So
you
like,
have to just have a plan though. Like for example, if he's asking you what time frame, for the people listening, right? If he's asking what time frame, and you're like, okay, well, what do you want to accomplish, right? If you're trying to turn $100 into $500, I don't know, maybe you're scalping on the 1 minute chart. If you're trying to see if this is going to be something that you can invest in for the next 10 years, you probably want to look on a multi-year chart, right? You should always go back and look at all the data, take that into consideration, and then come up with a thesis. So that's kind of what you're
yeah,
getting at, right?
absolutely. So I was saying like, uh, you put it better than I did, man. You always were better explaining than I am. But yeah, Justin's great at explaining things, breaking it down. So yeah, but like I told him, man, I spent so much time trying to learn as much as I can from all the time frames. And that's just the way I took it. Uh looking at candlesticks, I like the wicks and what's a gravestone doji? What's a hammer candle?
Yeah, what's
What's
a
a
shooting
which one's
star?
bullish?
What's a
Shooting star,
morning
what's
star?
bullish? What's bearish? And like what's the story? Like why did it in 2014? Why did that daily candle have a giant wick at the top? Um then I like connect the story. Oh, so 2014 was Ebola, and like that was a hype for like a 1 day hype. That's why. Then I try to investigate, and that
Right.
takes time. So, but if you want to do this part time, you're working full time, you're trying to stack up your cash to maybe in the future do it full time. There's nothing wrong with learning, like you said, like scalp, learning the 1 minute once to scalp, or just you gotta know what you want. You know what I mean? Like for me, I decided after a certain point to stop working and just like I saved up a little bit of money and lived like with minimal means and dedicated like as I wish there was more hours in the day. I some days, no lie, I would probably there were 22-hour, 23-hour days of me studying until I passed out onto my desk. You know,
Been there.
you know, you know what I mean. It's just like
And like you were saying at the beginning of the
that's
call, it doesn't stop. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like the intensity might slow down because you're starting to gain a better understanding, but you don't stop searching for the knowledge. You're still under
yeah,
learning and understanding new techniques. So that's really cool.
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I forgot
Um,
where that question started, but
well, I know we started talking about like, these for lack of a better words, what we would call shit coins,
uh,
stocks, and we kind of just got carried away there. So, all right, well, let's keep an eye on SIGA. It'll probably pump up to, who knows, 30, 40,
it
$50 and then come crashing down. I can't see it on the aftermarket.
yeah.
I'll have to find a chart where I can see it on the aftermarkets to keep up with it.
So I was looking at other stocks from Ebola. There's one called LAKE. So
Okay.
this is like my process. So LAKE, when I was learning, there was a DVD that I studied, and the guy shorted LAKE back in 2014, and it went
Is it
it went
Lakeland Industries? Want to make sure. Want to make sure the
it's
viewers
Lake
are seeing the right stock
yeah,
here.
Lakeland Industry.
Okay.
Go to the max daily chart. I don't know if you can see it to 2014.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me make it a
Actually,
monthly.
I have the week chart pulled up. I think it'll
Yeah, the weekly. 2014 is the, what's that, like the all-time low? Or no,
all time high. Let me see.
all-time high. Oh, that big wick, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
In
that
December,
lasted. I
around
got it
December,
pulled up like 3 or
October.
4 days. Exactly. So so I was like that's what that was the number one Ebola stock back then, and it just like that's that's worst case scenario I see for as a short seller for
400%. Wow.
monkeypox. That's the best case scenario for any of these monkeypox stocks
So like,
for it to go from $5 to $30 and straight down because Ebola was more deadly, and Ebola had a little bit more cases. So this weekend is going to be really instrumental because you have to consider. So I consider psychology of the other people as well on the other side. So I'm thinking, okay, so today's a Friday. If over the weekend there's less cases, then there's gonna be a gap down. That's my thesis
Right.
of that SIGA stock. That's the number one that I'm looking at for the pre-market, especially on Monday. But if there's more cases, that stock will spike more in the pre-market, and then eventually is going to give it all back.
Of
We
course.
know the end, so that's why I like short selling. Short selling for the most part, you know, in small caps and mid caps, we know the end game. The end game is going back to where it came from and probably less. You know, it's the good companies that are like keep like Apple. Apple keeps going up,
Right.
or even Tesla. Even though Tesla is, I
I
don't
was like,
really trade that.
I know you have feelings about Tesla, or you used to, right?
I used to, but I don't. You know, I just don't mess with the large caps. You
Right.
know, it's like the large caps. You have different players in it,
Too much goofy stuff
and
happens.
yeah, and actually in Tesla, I guess it has a good product and all that. So I don't know what it's doing now. It's probably down from the hype from back when we were talking about it a year ago. But yeah, no, I just don't mess with those kind of stocks. I like to mess with the. So I was talking with the people I was with yesterday. And I think I made a podcast too a while ago. So like these little companies that I trade, so you know we have Drake, the rapper,
Yeah.
and we have the fake Drake. Have you seen the fake Drake?
No.
Google that, right?
The fake Drake. All right.
Fake
Also,
Drake.
I see 29, so I think SIGA could push up to 29.63. That's my area to watch out for.
It's
The
I mean,
fake
it's never
Drake.
so that's the thing when we're gonna talk about floats. Float comes in handy with this and all-time highs. So it broke all-time highs just now
Oh wow, I see this
in
guy.
the after
I never
hours.
even knew about this guy. He doesn't look that
Fake
much like
Drake.
Drake.
Now he doesn't. But see, so like these small companies that I trade, they're all fake Drakes. They're not gonna get, like for example, when the war was happening and people were saying, "Oh, cybersecurity, we're gonna," then all this cybersecurity small cap companies start going up 100%, 200%. And then I made a video. I was saying this is like the fake Drake. The real Drake gets the contracts, gets the real people that back him up to make him who he is for the production and all that. The fake, you think this guy fake Drake is gonna get any contract? He actually started some music. He has like a music channel and stuff. You think someone's gonna like make this guy popping? I don't think so. He's a fake Drake.
Probably not.
But
The
like
like you're saying, the end outcome is most likely zero.
zero. But in the meantime, he has his little moments of fame here and there. He goes to the club, and they give him a free bottle or whatever, and he
Again,
does like some cameos and music videos and things like
these
that. So he
these were
gets
the guys that you were telling me about, like back in the day. You'd be fake friends with. You know what I mean? Because they're
yeah,
doing it.
like that,
It's
yeah.
he fits the profile.
But
Um,
but you
um,
see, he's gonna fade away. We know the end result of fake Drake. He's gonna go back to being who he was before being Drake or whatever, fake Drake.
exactly.
So
Just
that's
like these,
the good of the stocks.
just like the stocks, they're gonna go back to that $5 range, just like who they were before.
Yeah,
I love the comparison. That was a good one.
yeah.
All right. Well, shifting gears really quick, if you could, I want to touch on. So I thought it was so interesting that you traveled, right? So for the people
Oh,
that
by
don't
the
know,
way, I'm leaving tomorrow to Dubai.
oh, see, it
Yeah.
never stops, never stop. What's the occasion this time?
I'm going to a BSV. This is more along your alley. BSV conference, and Dr. Craig Wright is going to be there. So he's supposedly, they're like 95% sure he is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Oh my goodness.
I know you probably know more about it than I do, but like they say, but
Um,
uh, but yeah. So I'm gonna
no,
go check it out.
that guy is not Sato. Never mind. This is not the time to do this. All right. So I know you travel a lot, and I thought it was so cool because you being a short seller, it enables, not enables, but it gives you the drive, right? That extra drive to like really figure out like who are the fake Drakes, right? Like you're saying, who are the pretenders out here? And so I know recently, or relatively recently, you traveled to check out a few companies that might have seemed a little fake Drakish. So can you give me
Yeah,
the ticker on
fake
some of
Drake, yeah,
those?
for
Can you give me
sure.
the story on some of those? Like,
Oh man, you're gonna love. Yeah, yeah. So FLGC. Let's see what it's doing now. So I'll never forget. I'll be 85 years old, man. I'll be still telling the story of
Flora Growth
FLGC.
Corp.
Yeah, look at the year chart of that, or 2 year chart, I guess. I don't know, 1 year chart is good.
Wow. So
Yeah, so
August
This one,
2021, we pumped up 500%, and just like a fake Drake did, down 94% since.
yeah, this one, fake Drake. This were fake Drake, he had 1 month of fame, and then he's just like, that's it. He's back to normal life. But but yeah, it's exactly how it is, how it works. So this is like the same pattern over and over. But this one, okay, this one back in early August, I got a whole bunch of email pumps saying they were a disclaimer in the bottom saying they were compensated to send out the emails to start pumping it. So it was on my radar when it was like $3 or $4. So like I was shorting it back at $3 or $4 like intraday.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I was like, it still keeps going up on the daily, but intraday was spike drop, but it's still finished green. It's still moving its way up.
Right.
And then after a certain point, like I'm not even trading it anymore. And I look back at and I'm like, holy shit, it's at $10, $12. And like I know this company is garbage. Like it's a marijuana company. They do like marijuana products and they're based out of Colombia. And then one of my friends at Trade Space was like he already knew about it. And so we just discussed it. And we're like, and I was like, man, this thing's in Colombia. Oh shit. So mate, what if I go to Colombia and I expose this thing? And I was like, man, he's like, okay. And then like we just did a ton of research because like I'm not gonna just go to Colombia on a, like just like that.
Yeah,
So
right.
for like 4 or 5 days, intense research, nonstop. Um, they didn't want to reveal where they were. So I went on Instagram. This is like online deep research, detective work. So I went online, looked at all their YouTube videos. They had like a little channel there with like 10 videos, Instagram posts of like a on their company,
Right.
and then they had one Instagram post with the picture of a sign that said like the location in like small print.
Oh, okay.
So they slipped. So I got that image and the the name of the location. It didn't have an address. It had a
Right.
name. So like it was called Finca Canta la Vieja. So
Okay.
that means in Spanish, uh, the farm of the old lady singing. And so that's what it
This is
meant.
like a
Like
movie.
yeah, so if you go on Google and you type Finca Canta la Vieja, nothing's gonna show up. So like in Colombia, they don't have like certified addresses like we have here. Just like just a spot in the jungle that it's like word of mouth. Like
Right.
if you ask anybody there, wait, do you know where Finca Canta la Vieja is? They're like, yeah, it's over there, but you can't find it on the Google. Like you
Yeah,
can put
you
like,
can't just Google it.
yeah, you can't. So then I figured out the area on Google Maps, like the way it looks. They actually have something there in Google. I don't even think it had 3D view, but I was able to see like a sign or connect like the pond. They had a pond in the photo, and I connected the pond with the Google image. I was like, okay, so I narrowed it down to one area, and that area was like deep in the mountains. And I'm like, oh shit. So it's like it comes back to like how bad do you want it? Like I
Right.
know the area, I speak Spanish. I think I can figure it out. And I was like, yeah, it's gonna take a week of profits from me because I'm profitable at this point. So it's gonna cost me some money, probably around 10 grand. I was making like 10 grand a week back then. I was like, but like I get to establish myself as a real short seller. It's gonna be good podcast material, and I get to do like a solid report, and I could be part of this whole thing's downfall. Because on top of that, they had shares unlocking, and the insiders were gonna dump. That's why they
Oh.
pumped it. So
So,
this thing
and you
was coming
found that,
down.
how'd you find out about the shares unlocking? Was that in the K-12?
SEC filings and also being around other people that know SEC filings. So it was a learning experience as well. So I went over there and I flew in. I stayed at a hostel because like if you stay at a hotel, no one's gonna take you here. It's like a mountain. It's like the middle of nowhere. So in the hostel, I was able to ask like locals and stuff. And one guy like, so I flew in there and immediately started asking. I didn't want to be there that long. This place is in the
Right.
middle of nowhere. So I started asking right away, hey, do you know where this is? And they're like, yeah, they were laughing. Like, you want to go there? What do you want to go there for? It's a mountain. Like, no one goes there. And so the guy realized this guy's serious. He wants to go. So he's like, yeah, I'll take you on my
So when you
motorcycle.
when you got, yeah, I was gonna say, so when you got there, how did you like? I mean, obviously I know you speak Spanish, but like, how were you able to finesse that? You were just like, yo, went to the coffee shop or the bar up the street and was like, yo,
Yeah. You know,
did you have to
no, I
bribe
went
anybody? Like throw him a couple
I went
bucks?
to the no, not even, man, because like I guess American dollars go a long way there. So like it's crazy. The whole motorcycle ride to there was a 3-hour journey. It only cost me $5 in American dollars. and like I tipped them like an extra couple. I did, I stayed there I know I was gonna have to stay there a few days. So I didn't want to like over tip, and
Right, right.
they're gonna have expectations.
Yeah.
So like and you want to be generous because it's only a few bucks, but it's like you don't want to,
You don't want to draw a
you,
bunch of attention to yourself either,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Like,
that too. So you got to be careful when you travel. So like I'm good with that. So like I told him right away. So like I landed there, I went to the hostel. He actually picked me up from the airport in a motorcycle. Is the airport is on the mountain. It's crazy.
mm.
So the airport was on the mountain, on another mountain, and he took me down. It was crazy. My first time riding in a motorcycle like that. Like it's not fun at all, man. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
It's not fun
It's
at all.
dangerous. It's dangerous. I was freaking out the whole time. I don't, but like I wanted it so bad. I wanted to discover because I knew this place was a fraud. I know it's up there, and like someone needs to be there and document it, and it's for sure it's done. And I was like, I wanted this so bad. Like I'm like, this is my opportunity. I'm gonna take advantage of this
Right. This
opportunity.
is my moment.
This is my yes. That's the way I saw it. Like if I have to hike up there, I'm gonna hike up there. Like it's gonna take me like a 16-hour hike. I might have to sleep in the bushes, but
Right. Don't
I'm gonna
matter.
get this done. I'm gonna get
Right.
it done. No, seriously, that's the way I was like, I'm doing this. So I told the hostel guy, yeah, I showed him my map. I showed him the photos that I had. And he's like, yeah, I'll take you there. I think it's up there. And I was like, man, whatever. As long as we come, I just want a shot at finding it. And we have to start in the morning because it takes 3 hours to get there. And then because the thing is, there's no electricity, there's no Wi-Fi, there's nothing up there. So you
Right.
got to get out before the sun sets. So like yeah, so he took me up there. The guy actually was happy to take me there for such little money, risk having his motorcycle destroyed. There's just mud everywhere, just for a few bucks. It tells you how poor these people are, yeah, he took me up there. I mean, he did a great job, man. I don't know how he had the patience for that.
And what
But like
city?
for
What
me, I
city
was
was it
freaking
again?
out. I was freaking out. Bucaramanga.
Bucaramanga.
Bucaramanga. It's the middle of nowhere. There's like one tiny airport. It's like crazy that I went there,
Okay, so you
and
get
I
there.
didn't get robbed or anything.
Yeah, right, right. So you're traveling up the mountain. You get to the top. What happens?
So what happened? So I went there. The first day they were shocked, like who's this guy? So there's security there with a gun, and I just show up and I'm like, hey, I'm an investor. Yo soy inversor, like in Spanish.
Right,
And he's like, and you're just thrown off. I didn't come there announced. I just
right.
showed up.
That's hard.
And think about it, like if you're in the mountain, you're probably doing this job out of boredom. You're just hanging out. There's goats and stuff, and you're just doing
And
nothing.
just like, who is this dude? Like,
Yeah, and then because their site was basically a Hollywood set. It just had a sign of the company Flora Growth, and they had like a little shed there, and that was it. And it was just for photo purposes, basically.
wow.
That's the conclusion. They had like a small garden the size of like I don't know, like your mom's backyard or however that is, and of like weed. I don't know if it was fake or not, but they had some little plants there. And that was it. And they claimed they were gonna send weed all over the world for 6 cents a gram, and they're gonna export it. And then it's another thing: how are they gonna export it when there's no infrastructure? It took me 3 hours on a motorcycle. A car can't go up there.
Right.
There's so much mud and everything. But yeah, I went there. The guy was shocked to see me. He had me go inside because there's Wi-Fi to talk to the manager. Because it was a Sunday when I arrived. I caught him totally off guard.
Mm.
And the manager told me, which was actually one of the executives on the filings. So I was documenting this through a secret camera pen, like James Bond. I documented everything. It's actually some on YouTube. And
I'll link
and
it in the
like
description.
yeah, then I have a whole playlist on it. It's actually really fun to watch. I watch it when I'm bored all the time. So he told me actually to come the next day, and he didn't think I'm gonna do that. And I told him, it's kind of hard to come back here. It's like 3 hours on a motorcycle. It's muddy. It might rain tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, don't worry. He knew I wasn't gonna make it. And I told him I'm leaving on Tuesday. And he's like, he's making a bet on me not showing up.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck, I really want to do this now. I was ready to document everything now. Just get out of there. But they're never gonna make it easy. It's like what I said. Like your opponent is never gonna make it easy.
Right.
Never gonna just lay down and die. You roll over.
Especially when money's involved.
Yeah, exactly. They made a ton of money off this. Like I made some money off of it, but I can't imagine they probably made millions and millions off this. At one point, I think the market cap of this was like 300 million or 400 million, you know, so on the run up. So I was there the day that it went to 21.45, the all-time highs. And I was at the mount, about to head to the mountain, and one of my friends in Puerto Rico was like, "Hey, David, check it out. Do you see the chart?" And I had no idea because my internet sucked. And they're like, "Yeah, it's a 2021." And I was like, "Holy shit! How did it go this high? This fraud, this complete fraud." And
That's funny. So
anyway,
you're standing, you're like standing in this like fraud infested build, like not even building, like just looking at this Caddyshack while the price is hitting
yeah,
all time highs. Like,
yeah. And so when I arrived to the top of the mountain, I couldn't check the charts. There's no internet,
of
but
course,
I
right?
did I did know that it's approaching all-time highs. So
But you were already in your position.
yeah, I was already there. Yeah, so like I'm thinking in my head they might be a little on edge because like they want to continue this party going, you know, or maybe they're planning to dump it today. Who knows? And
Right.
then all of the sudden this foreigner shows up at the front gate the day it's at all-time high. I showed up at the gate and like and then the guy, so I started asking the security guard. I came back the next day, by the way. So another 3-hour journey. I told the motorcycle driver, I was like, "Here you go, man. Here's some more money. Let's go up there." And the guy had a stamina, by the way. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't the next day because the motorcycle broke down on Monday
Ah,
from that trip.
right.
And the poor guy had to go get it fixed next door. I think his brother fixed it or something. And so I went to check out all the offices in the area on the filings, and they were all bullshit offices. One was a mall, one was like a random thing. So I documented all that to help the report.
Right.
But then the next day, the motorcycle was fixed. So I go back up there again, and then the guy freaks out. He comes out. He's like, "You're not gonna get a tour, this and that." And I took out my phone. Not only did I have the camera here, I took out the phone was more like obvious.
Right.
So then he freaks out. He starts trying to grab the phone,
What?
and then he realizes he fucked up because like if you try to grab, that's like physical. Now it looks really bad. It's really bad optics.
Right.
You know,
It
like
looks like you're getting like
imagine.
an altercation trying to hide something.
Yeah. It's like yeah. So yeah. What's he hiding? Also, and if you're a publicly listed company, you have to show if someone wants a tour, wants to see the facility, they can see it. So he
Oh.
was breaking the rules right there. And then what is he hiding? And like, why is he getting confrontational? And I had him recorded that he said he's gonna give me a tour. So like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then I had it all filmed, and then that was all I needed. Actually, I didn't even need to see the inside after that. I was like, I
Right.
got everything I needed. I already went kind of inside. I got this guy freaking out. We have the whole report. All the offices in the area are fake. Uh, this thing we have the screenshots of all the disclaimers saying they're compensated to pump this thing.
Right.
The insider shares are unlocking. Oh, and then on top of that, the research team in Puerto Rico, well, the research team, a couple people that are researching it, found out that there's this nefarious guy behind it that does these.
The icing on the cake.
Yeah, that he's done a few of these, and like he'll pick like a gold mine and put it like in the Amazon, and then list the company in the U.S. exchanges, but no one's gonna go to the Amazon to see the gold mine,
Right.
you know. So like I don't know. I find these are my specialty. If there was one that were to pop up in the Amazon, I'm going to the Amazon. I'll go there tomorrow. It was such a fun trip. Like
Right.
I've gotten so like
I'm going next
depending.
time. I know you need a
Yeah,
right hand. I can work
I
security. I'm coming. I'm coming.
let's do that. But like I invited some people and they were scared to go, man. So like I don't
You gotta be willing to. You gotta be willing to risk it.
actually yeah, you
Well,
gotta be
I
willing to
don't
risk
even
it.
know. I don't even have a brokerage account to short though. So I got to make sure I have my my brokerage account is open to short.
Yeah. So speaking of the broker, so yeah, you have any questions on that?
Um. Well, we touched a little bit on like what float is and just how to like how do you determine like if a stock is liquid enough to short, and that's kind of like what you're saying, right? You just check the float account, you see what shares are out there to make it available to short. Is that correct?
Yeah. So float, that's the amount of shares that are publicly traded. So the insiders have shares. So if you look at the outstanding shares, there's a whole number for outstanding shares, but the insider shares can't be publicly traded. So they have that locked up.
Got
The
it.
public ones are the ones that are rotating all the time. So,
Circulating supply.
yeah, and those are the ones you want to watch out for. So if the public float is really low, like for me, if it's like 2 million or less, I likely will not touch it because a low float can go berserk. You can have like there's a company um that does like figurines, like Beauty and the Beast figurines,
Okay.
and it's like it's a BS company, but it has a 1.5 million float, as opposed to like this company I just showed you, the Monkeypox one that
Mm-hmm.
has a 50 million float. So 50 million
Oh, okay.
versus 1 million,
Which basically just shows
1.5
it's
million.
way more liquid, right? For
Yeah,
you to
so
get in
supply
and
and
out.
demand. Yeah,
Right.
there's less supply. So when there's less supply, it won't take much demand to make it spike like crazy. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I try to avoid those because those are like it can squeeze like crazy.
So low float equals easy to pump, basically.
Easy to pump. So you see a lot of pumpers on those. And in the past, it's rare, but you might see one of those from $1 go to 100 for no reason, and then it comes straight back down.
Shoo.
But it's just, it's you don't want to get involved with that. That's a
Yeah.
disaster. But but yeah, so that's what I look for with float. I know with crypto, um, float can be related to like the supply.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Circulating
example,
supply compared to fully diluted or like
exactly.
total
So
supply. Good.
like
Sorry.
you were explaining to me back a while ago about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I think, has 21 million supply, but
Mm-hmm.
it like 20% of that is lost or something like that.
Well,
And
yes.
then yeah, so that could be like the float. The float is
Mm-hmm.
21 million, and then like 20% of that is lost. So in the stocks case, 20% of that is the insiders that are not going to let go of their shares,
Yep.
and because they don't shares and stocks don't get lost. I guess they don't.
But
Like Bitcoin doesn't get lost.
unless they're selling naked shorts, right?
Yeah, so the naked shorts, that's a whole different animal, but like there so a broker can lend you shares without there being buyers, but they have like 2 or 3 days to find a buyer. If not, they gotta call back the share. So
Right.
that's where like the Chinese take advantage. They and also these days with your broker, if you're long, you can turn off the setting to lend out the shares for the short seller. So you
Oh,
can you can turn off. That's what the Chinese do. They'll turn off the setting, and
because
they'll lock up the shares.
that
So
does
then
more of a
in
pump.
yes, and then in 2 or 3 days, the brokers that lent out the shares to the short seller, if it hasn't come down, they have to force the short seller to give it back. So the Chinese know that and they'll play games. So that's a whole nother animal. But yeah, so we have that with stocks. But yeah, that's how float relates in a way.
Definitely, definitely. No, I see the relation more now. And definitely cleared it up for me. But the last thing I was just wondering, like, what are your thoughts on like some of these FANG stocks? Like, so I used the 200-day or 200-week moving average, just to kind of get an idea of like some things that are going on. And usually from like back testing, I've seen that if you're on the 200-week moving average and you get a test of that, then you usually get a pretty good bounce from there. So the S&P right now is about, let me see, about 10% away from hitting that 200 weekly moving average. Meta, Facebook has been under it for a while. Netflix down 75%. Amazon about to do their stock share. I just know for the people that are watching, I know that these are kind of the names that they know more. And I know that you don't dabble in them too much, but I just didn't know if you had any like inputs or any thoughts on them whatsoever.
Well, for that, like you said, I don't really dabble in them at all. However, I will watch the QQQ, which is the Nasdaq ETF,
Mm-hmm.
and that contains all these. So like that usually mirrors what all the ones you just mentioned are doing more or less. It's like the average of it. And overall, I think the past 2 years, the we printed out a lot of money, a lot of dilution, a lot of traders, people that didn't treat trading seriously, all got burned, and now we're coming back down to earth. You know, it took a while, but like it's coming back. So if you look at like this year, I think we're approaching 20% down already, or something like that. Um, and yeah, that's the way I see these stocks, the FANG stocks or whatever. It's like kind of doing what the overall market's doing. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of just like, you took it for granted and now you're kind of reaping what you sow, so to speak.
Yeah. I have some Apple actually. But like the thing is with Apple, I have an account like an IRA. Like
Right.
I'm not even actively trading it.
You're not trading it, it's
Uh
just you hold it.
I put it in there and I'm thinking until I'm 60 years old, you know what I mean? It's like I don't see Apple going anywhere and I like Apple products, so why not instead of putting it in my bank account, I put it there. and I knew kind of already because I don't really long things. I knew it's actually probably is better in my bank account because we're overextended.
We're so
But you know,
far overextended.
yeah, it's just, I didn't know what to do with it. I don't want it in my bank account, and I don't want it. So it's like I'll just put tax free in IRA. If anything, I'll use it as a learning experience. It's not that big a position, but I did know we are overextended, and I still bought Apple. You know, Apple's good, but like, and I think overall, in it's gonna go up over the years, but like, it does have to correct. You know, the past, like when COVID happened in LA and everything was closed, but the market was going as
Going
bullish as
crazy.
ever, like that, you know, it's that's weird, you know.
It's
And
not
then the Fed is
sustainable.
printing money and sending money to everybody, and everything's artificially inflated because people are trading or whatever. I don't know. Eventually that's not gonna last, you know. That you know. So and we see that now. We see everything's correcting.
Yeah, everything's pulling back, so kind of just like I mean, for you that short stocks, it's great. Being in a bear market, the only thing about being in a bear market though is usually there is a little bit less volatility. So I don't know how that's gonna play out.
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem. You know, so like now that I'm going to Dubai, I actually have Dubai. Then I'm going to Thailand, and then I'm gonna try to go to Japan on the way back to LA, and
Nice.
then Puerto Rico and Cayman Islands and all that. But I put on some swing positions because like the market's kind of slow anyway, you know, right
Right.
now. So when it's a bear market, it sounds good in theory. Oh, bear market, just short everything, is all going down. It's where I thrive. But you know what's crazy is that the past few years, the success that I've had has been all in the bull market. So like, you know, in the bull market, things will overextend crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like a stock announces, I remember in COVID, we have rubbing alcohol for COVID, a small cap, the fake Drake, right? And it goes 300% up just because they have Clorox, or they announce a headline. We have Clorox, and the Clorox defeats COVID.
And it's
It's
like,
loading up. Or I think there was a mask shortage, and then like some companies like we got a hold of some masks, and like it goes 200% up.
yeah, just the most
And
ridiculous things.
yeah, so like in a bull market, you'll get a lot of overextension like that, and that is where the easy. Honestly, I think that's where the easy money's made. The bear market is tough because I like to short those spikes, you know, and it's tough to get that in a bear
There's
market.
gonna
In a
be
bear
less
market,
spikes.
less spikes, but there's I guess is everything is trending downwards. So I think if you know, swinging plays more is probably better in a bear market. You know, I don't know. So this is the first bear market, well, approaching to be a bear market that I've been a part of. So, um, we, you know, because like even if you started like in 2011 trading, like we've had a bull market since like 2010 or something like that.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah, the bounce back after the housing crisis has been
yeah,
nonstop, especially for tech stocks. Like for tech stocks, they haven't like really
they
slowed down
haven't.
at all.
Yeah.
So
So I don't know. It's just a lot of things to consider. But these days though, we have everybody trading on their phone. Technology is faster. Like the way I trade stocks, I said it in one podcast before. Like I'll short like I remember Redbox. Redbox has been going crazy lately. But Redbox spiked like 150% one day, and I was short, 100 shifts, 100 shifts, 100 shifts. And then on the way down, cover, then short. Like this is a new way to trade. Like in the past, in 2005 or whatever, you couldn't trade like that. How you gonna tell your broker, hey, just do a million short sells and a million covers, right? You know, because the technology is so fast and you're
right,
able to read. And I have friends, they have this like stream deck. I don't know if you've seen this stream deck. He'll press a button for short, cover, short, cover, buy, sell. And
what?
it's like
No.
this is like a new way to trade. This is a more even faster than hotkeys. The
Uh,
hotkeys was too slow. So it's like he is his own algorithm, and on top of that, you do have more algorithms and HFTs and all this, but like you know, the way to trade now is way more volatile, or the possibilities are way more volatile, so that the market can recover faster. So it has faster moves. It dumps faster. So like a crash like in you know in 2008. That's why, actually, that's why the COVID crash happened so quick. It's like the technology and more people trading and more volatility, more liquidity. So it was able to recover fast. So that's one case of the that the bulls have. Oh yeah, we were in a bear market already. We did that, but like, was that really a bear market, or was like, So that's kind of like the argument. It's like, okay, so that was the bear market, but in my opinion, at least at first, I don't know, I, that's not a bear market. That's just a correction, a really really quick one. But
Right.
what is a real bear market these days? So a lot of the bulls, like I know there's one bull in Puerto Rico. He was telling me, oh yeah, like he's kind of like this uh I don't know, he doesn't believe in bear markets. He's like, if everybody print the whole world prints money at the same time, we'll never have a bear market again. That's his thinking, and I don't I don't believe in that, but like a lot of people think that, like bear markets, they can solve the problem to have never have a bear market again. So
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of new investors are getting hurt right now, but it's also kind of just the beginning, right? Because if we do roll over into that like recessionary phase, people don't have any money to like buy the dip. Everyone got into investing and put all their money in as we've been going up, not realizing that how inflated the market is. And, I've been a victim of that too as well, like not taking enough profit, knowing that times don't look the best. So I guess we're just gonna have to kind of see how it plays out, but. David, man, we covered a lot.
yeah.
I appreciate you giving me the chance to kind of touch back in with you. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
Nah, man, we're gonna do another podcast soon, so we can talk more about was it Luna, Terra, UST, all this
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so that I'm looking forward to that. But no, it's just like I like what you're doing, man. Like you explain things really well, so it's great that you're teaching people as well, or whoever wants to learn and seeks you out. I think that's important, and I think it's also important, like what do you like for people to ask themselves, whoever's wants to learn this stuff, like what do you want to take out of the market? There's just so many ways to do everything. Um, do a part time, you can do a full time, you can make side money, you can make a lot of money. It's like, what do you want? So it's about like, how much time you got to dedicate, um, how far you want to go deep into the rabbit hole. But either way, just like learning, keep the compounding your knowledge over time so you can do well whatever you're trying to do. So
Yeah, definitely. You can really take it as far as you want, but it's up to you to, not only start, but then to put in the work behind it. So, all right, guys, that was David from the Friendly Bear. Catch us soon. I'm gonna hop on his channel and drop a Luna short. The bear needs to know what's going on in the crypto short world. So, appreciate you again, David.
absolutely, thanks, Justin.